He forgave them in his heart. He forgave them in his thoughts. He forgave them in his words. He forgave them in his deeds. And he said, you meant harm, God meant good. And so for each of us, wherever there are pain points, as we look back over our human journey, wherever humans meant harm, to be able to look deeper than that and to see, yes, that happened. And deeper than that, God meant good. And to allow that divine good to flourish in us, to unfold in us, to be shared through us concretely and practically in our daily lives. That is what it means to live with a full heart. That is what it means to live in the light. Amen, 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 amen. It's fabulous to see you. Welcome, 1,000 welcomes. We are meditating on the topic fullness after fullness. And so, in a way, we've been meditating on this all along. When we are in contact with that pure light, that pure love, that radiance within ourselves, fullness is, bliss is, kindness is, good humor is, wisdom is, caring is, like this energy of creativity that pours forth, the pure life force, the wholeness, the joy, the expansiveness, the growth, the positivity, the all that I adore, that is. It's here in consciousness and energy. And so then, of course, fullness after fullness is here. This is part of our series on full heart living. And so we're inviting ourselves to connect directly with that energy of the fullness of heart, like that radiance that is always here. In our opening meditation, if you joined us midstream, we were connecting with inviting ourselves to feel directly within ourselves. Each of us is a chalice of light, a sacred cup or vessel of light, always, continually. And so I also just want to give us some very practical entry points to working with this, because each of us is also here in a human body, so we know what that's like. Sometimes it's not comfortable being here in a human body. We're here in a human heart, and sometimes the human heart gets broken. We're here in a human mind. The mind can experience stress and strain and being out of balance. And so we're working with ourselves very practically, wisely, joyfully, lovingly, with our human body, with our human heart, with our human mind. So last week, we were meditating on Joseph, and we share teachings of truth, universal teachings of truth from many different traditions. So in the Hebrew Bible, in the Christian Old Testament, I think it's the last 13 chapters of Genesis, there's a story told about Joseph. Joseph's brothers hate him, and first they decide that they want to kill him because they're jealous of him, but then they say, no, better idea, let's just sell him into slavery in Egypt, because then he'll be out of our way, and we won't have to feel less than in comparison to him. So they sell him into slavery in Egypt, and Joseph, because he is in this energy of generosity, he's in this energy of honesty, he prospers and thrives in Egypt. He is always connected to this energy of caring, to this energy of light, this energy of love, and so he thrives and prospers. It's not all easygoing. He is unjustly accused and thrown into prison for part of his time in Egypt, but he's honest in prison as well. He's still in contact with this energy of generosity, and so he's helpful and hopeful to the people he encounters who are also in prison with him. After one of them gets out, that person eventually remembers, oh, Joseph helped me. And so Joseph, again, he's liberated. He comes in front of the Pharaoh. He interprets a dream for the Pharaoh, although Joseph says, I can't do this, but God can, which is also another wonderful teaching as well. And to summarize, Joseph ends up multiple times, like 3 times, saving the lives of his brothers who wanted to kill him. Welcome. Thanks for your presence. If you are enjoying this, please like, share, and subscribe. It helps joy and inspiration move forth into the world. And who sold them into slavery in Egypt, saving the lives 3 times. And one of the culminating teachings in that story, the brothers are terrified. And they're like, you could punish us. You would be completely justified if you punished us after what we did to you. And what Joseph says is, you meant harm, but God meant good. And so he saves his brothers' lives. So for each of us to directly allow ourselves to feel, we have definitely encountered human situations where humans meant harm. God always means good, even in those situations where humans mean harm. The moment that we have that direct realization, allowing ourselves directly to feel it and to live it, the way that Joseph lived it, he wasn't just saying, I forgive you. He forgave them in his bones. He forgave them in the marrow of his life. He forgave them in his heart. He forgave them in his thoughts. He forgave them in his words. He forgave them in his deeds. And he said, you meant harm, God meant good. And so for each of us, wherever there are pain points, as we look back over our human journey, wherever humans meant harm, to be able to look deeper than that and to see, yes, that happened. And deeper than that, God meant good. And to allow that divine good to flourish in us, to unfold in us, to be shared through us concretely and practically in our daily lives. That is what it means to live with a full heart. That is what it means to live in the light. That is what it means to live connected to this energy of pure love. When you live connected to this energy of pure love, you want nothing. There is no lack. There is only this fullness. There is only this allness. There is only this wholeness that is pouring forth through you. For most humans, I want to just acknowledge this. This is a practice of a lifetime. So you might hear this teaching. I'm just sharing this based on a true story that I heard. You might hear this teaching at age 18, and you might say, I'm going to do this. Like, it's going to be like a lightning bolt. I'm going to do this. And I came across recently someone who said, I started consciously following a spiritual path at age 18. 40 years down the line, I'm realizing that it's less about a lightning bolt that comes out of the sky, which was my 18-year-old self, thinking, okay, it's going to be like a lightning bolt that comes out of the sky, and then I'm going to be walking around like with this lightning bolt kind of, zipping and zapping through me all the time. 40 years down the line of being on a spiritual path, they realize, oh, this is about, can I remember the divine and be kind to the humans around me? That's what this is about. And so if you can, keep your sense of humor, and any concepts that you have about, oh, this is what enlightenment is, or this is how it works, or this is how it feels, or this is how I expect it to zap me out of the blue, remember that person's distilled wisdom of a lifetime of spiritual practice. It's about, can I remember the divine? Can I be kind to the humans around me in my daily life? Can I be that energy of forgiveness? So the teaching for today is about this energy of fullness, this energy of generosity, and it's exactly what we've been talking about already. Jesus shares a very similar teaching. And so this is from Luke. And I'll just mention, he's speaking about the laws of energy. Jesus is speaking about the laws of energy. The Buddha, in that teaching that I shared already, is speaking about the laws of energy when he says darkness cannot cast out darkness, Only love does that. Only light does that. Hatred cannot cast out hatred. Only love and light do that. So he is saying, focus on what you want to create. Be so sovereign over yourself that you focus on what you want to create, independent of what is happening in time and space, independent of human experiences. So the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says this: practice self-control to realize liberation. Give, be generous to realize liberation. Have compassion to realize liberation. And the kind of self-control that is being talked about in the Brihadaranyaka, as I understand it, is exactly the kind of self-control that Jesus and the Buddha are talking about as well. So what the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad is saying is, control your body, control your senses, control your reactivity. If you control your body and your senses and your reactivity, you are free. No one has power over you. Unless you control your body, senses, and reactivity, you are unfree. And you are giving people in time and space control over you. So if I am allowing, I'm going to put this directly, if I'm allowing someone to push my buttons, I'm giving them that control. That means I am choosing not to be sovereign over myself. I am choosing not to control my reactivity. I am choosing to be unfree. And so what the Brihadaranyaka says is, choose to control your own reactivity. Then you are free. Then you are liberated. Be generous. Then you are free. Then you are liberated no matter what anyone is doing. Have compassion. Have awareness. Have this love. Recognize that everyone in time and space, believe it or not, as strange as this seems, is actually doing the best they know how to do at this moment. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? And the way to help that shift is by being the energy of what you would love to see in time and space. And making that energy that you would love to see in time and space visible through exercising self-sovereignty, self-control of self-reactivity. And that's when we are liberated. That's when we are free. Through being generous, through having compassion. So that's what the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says. Jesus says the same thing. So this is in Luke, and it's in chapter 6. He says, to you who are listening. And so for each of us, am I listening? Am I listening? Because this is quite a teaching to live in time and space. To you who are listening, I say, love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you. Pray for those who mistreat you. Do to others as you would have them do to you. Be merciful, just as your Father is merciful. Do not judge, and you will not be judged. Do not condemn, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be poured into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. And so it's the same teaching. It is saying control your reactivity. If you still have any reactivity, control it. And then you are free. Then you are this energy of mercy. You are this energy of forgiveness. You are this energy of compassion. You are this energy of generosity. And when you are the energy of mercy and generosity and forgiveness and freedom and compassion, guess what will be your experience? That energy will flow to you. It may or may not. So Padma just gave us a very concrete, practical example of this. And by the way, we did not coordinate in any way, even though we're sharing the same observations. So Padma didn't call it this, but had a quarrel, if you want to call it that, is that a fair word, with a wonderful human. And Padma was able to move to this energy of forgiveness and compassion and wisdom and self-control and liberation. Even if the other human was not able to move there, Padma freed herself in relation to the other human. And then the other human was also free. The other human is free to then go on and create whatever they want to create according to their own consciousness and energy, and they will be responsible for what they create. So that's another thing to keep in mind as well. People who are moving in the energy of non-liberation, in the energy of reactivity, in the energy of not being able to be this energy of generosity, they will experience what they create. There's a famous story about Yogananda in that regard, which you might have heard. So the story I've heard told in a couple of different ways, but one of the ways that I've heard it is Yogananda was on an airplane wearing bright orange. So if you can just imagine, this was a time before yoga was very known in this particular country, so he's on this airplane wearing bright orange. And there's a person on the airplane who looks at him and tells Yogananda, "You are going to go to hell." Because he looks at Yogananda and is like, "You're part of a different tradition than I am, and my tradition says all y'all are going to hell if you're not part of my tradition. So, bye to all y'all." And Yogananda looks at this man who has just said to him, "You are going to go to hell," with some amount of vitriol, right? The man has been speaking with vitriol, not in the energy of forgiveness, not in the energy of love, not in the energy of recognizing you are a child of light. You are a child of the one divine parent, and I honor and respect that light in you. And so in response to this vitriol and this threat, Yogananda looks at the man and he says with absolute dignity and calm, "I may or may not go to hell, sir. You, sir, are in hell already." And the way the story was told to me, the plane erupted in applause because Yogananda was sovereign of himself. Yogananda was in control, choosing how would I like to respond. This gentleman just attempted to insult me. I am able to look back at him. I am able to meet his gaze. Even if he is not able to see and be aware of the light that is here, I am able to see and be aware of the light that is here. And that frees me. And so for each of us to give ourselves that gift of being so self-aware of the light that is present always within ourselves and always within everyone else, independent of whether the one we're looking at is able to remember it in that moment, then we are free and we are creating what might be termed the kingdom of heaven right here. So no matter where we are in time and space, that is what we are invited to live. That core recognition of generosity, of kindness, of wisdom, of caring, of mercy, that frees us and it frees everyone whom we encounter. And you'll also sort of see, I'm going to share with you a teaching from the Bhagavad Gita, which says, give without expecting anything in return at the right time and place. That gift is regarded as the source of self-liberation and peace. And so we're living in this energy of generosity. It will flow back to us, but we're not sort of giving with an expectation that we're then sort of saying, oh, well, where's the generosity flowing back to me? It's just that that current is already there. And in that story of Yogananda on that plane, you could feel that generosity, that connection, that self-possession, that self-dignity, that self-respect, that self-awareness, that self-trust, that self-knowingness, which was so self-aware, it was not thrown off balance, even in the face of that insult. even in the face of that vitriol, even in the face of that threat. It responded with kindness. And so for each of us, very, very practically, we are inviting ourselves to look back over our lives at those human pain points and to see deeper than the human pain. To see, even if the humans meant it for harm, God meant it for good. And to allow ourselves to forgive ourselves for having gone through that experience. So Swami Nityananda, who founded this meditation community, shared a couple of deeply healing teachings about forgiveness. One of them was this: whatever another human was not able to give you, give that directly to yourself. So anywhere in your life, as you look back and you feel regret, or I wish that hadn't happened, or what was going on there, why did that person do that, I wish whoever it was had known better, I wish I had known better, give yourself what another was not able to give you, or give yourself what you were not able to give yourself in your earlier days as well. So that's one of the deeply healing teachings Swami Nityananda shared about forgiveness. Another is very interesting, and it's related to the story that Padma shared about the Buddha. Swami Nityananda also said this: when we practice forgiveness, we are always really practicing self-forgiveness for having seemed to allow ourselves to be adversely affected by the other. There's a lot there, but what he's saying is your light is never adversely affected by another. Never. There's never an experience that you have in time and space that diminishes your light. Never. No human can diminish your light. Never. Nothing in time and space can diminish your light. And when you have that realization, that's back to the Buddha. What is there to forgive? Like, I'm not the same person that I was when that happened. That other person is not the same person that they were when that happened. And that's exactly the teaching shared by the Buddha as well. And it is when we have that awareness that we are then liberated in time and space. And so back to what is enlightenment, it is the lightning bolt of forgiveness. But it is the lightning bolt of forgiveness in daily life. The remembering the divine in daily life, remembering the divine in your conversations with the sibling or the parent or the child or the friend or the partner or the rude person on the airplane. It's remembering the divine always and knowing that nothing can adversely affect me in time and space because I am this pure light. Nothing can dim or diminish this pure light. When we have that awareness, of course we give generously, because of course the heart is full to overflowing with bliss. The heart is full to overflowing with radiance. Absolute peace is here. We are aware when absolute peace is here, there is nothing that is missing. And so of course it is a natural recognition that all of our life, all of our existence is gift. All of this is gift. And so we will be generous, we will be composed, we will be wise, we will be kind, we will be filled with good humor, we will live in freedom, inwardly always, independent of what is happening. And we will also be in contact with this pure energy of, you could call it like divine life force, you could call it divine creativity, you could call it the pure energy of optimal growth and expansion. It's the energy of all that each of us adores. That energy that wants to share through us. See if you can allow yourself to feel this. All the love in the universe wants to share through you. All of the love in the universe wants to share with you. And so what we are invited to do is to let our mind be so calm and clear and still that all the love in the universe is reflected in our mind. Our hearts are so pure and open that all the love in the universe simply pours through us. Our energy and our consciousness are so clear and so harmonious that all the love in the universe shines through us. So we're invited to let go of any limitation that we have been placing on all the love in the universe and all the light in the universe. The Bhagavad Gita is very practical about this. It says that means each of us will get to give to the God, to the divine, whatever our word for it is. We will get to give our senses to the divine. We will get to give sense objects to the divine. We will get to give sense impressions to the divine. Go beyond senses, go beyond sense objects, go beyond sense impressions, go beyond limited concepts, and you're in that field of absolute, limitless love. And what you will create for yourself and also with others in unprecedented ways is entirely unpredictable because it is new and it is fresh and it is now, and the divine is creating more light and more love in our lives, in our very bodies, in our hearts, in our minds, in our community, everywhere across the planet. We are part of creating entirely fresh, entirely new, more love, more light, more absolute peace than has ever been seen before. We are part of it. We are ready. We are blessed. Thank God, and God bless us all.